Hello everyone, this is Gautam from Shailaja IS. This video, the issue is about India and European Union Free Trade Agreement, which has been now projected as the mother of all free trade deals. European Union is a regional organization of 27 European nations, which has a common, you can say, economic policy, common monetary policy, common strategic policy, and which is a common market, right? So rather than what effectively it is getting is, rather than having an individual trade agreement with 27 different nations, one trade agreement is enough to enter into the markets of all 27 nations, right? So in this video, we'll first try and understand what are the key features of this free trade agreement. We'll try and understand how it is benefiting India, right? And how it is benefiting European Union. And finally, we'll try and understand what are some of the challenges or the controversial aspects of your India and European Union free trade deal. So before we actually move into the key features of your free trade agreement, let us try and understand the basics of the free trade agreement itself, right? So for that, we'll just try and understand how trade usually happens in the present day scenario. Suppose this is India and consider this as Bangladesh. And this is your entire Europe market, okay, which has having your Germany, France, Italy, all the other countries, right? Belgium, right? Now in India, for example, a textile manufacturer produces a cloth. Let us take an example of one shirt. Suppose the cost of one shirt is you can say the labor cost or the production cost is, for example, let us consider it to be 60 rupees. Now any product, if it wants to leave the country, it has to pay certain exit fees. In other words, export duties. And trade in the present day world is not free of cost. If the goods wants to exit the country, it has to pay certain fees. If it wants to enter into the country, it has to pay a certain fees. Let us suppose presently, if it wants to exit the country, it has to pay 5 rupees. And if it wants to enter the country right now, since it is coming from India, it used to pay around 25 rupees. Okay. Apart from this, there is always going to be a profit margin. Okay, profit margin, let us take it as 10%, that is, or we'll take it as additional 5 rupees. So total price of one particular shirt after it exits India, enters into the European market, how much it is going to be priced? 60 plus exit fees of 5 rupees plus another 5 rupees of profit, 70 rupees, and it has to pay 25 rupees of, you can say, entry fees into the European market. That is also going to be added into the price, right? So 70 and 95 rupees per shirt. I hope you're clear with this. Now the same thing, let us try and understand what is happening with Bangladesh. Bangladesh, more or less, the textile industry is more or less the same, the technology is the same. The labor cost is comparatively cheaper because majority of your garment workers in Bangladesh are women. Okay, around 85 to 90% are women. So the labor cost over there is comparatively less. For example, let us take that the labor cost is coming out at around 55 rupees. We'll, for the purpose, understanding purpose, we'll keep it in Indian rupees itself, right? Now, obviously, Bangladesh would have also kept some exit fees, that is your export duties. Let us keep that as the same as 5 rupees. Now, let us consider their profit margin is also more or less similar to India, where additional 5 rupees. First thing, here itself you can see it is around 65 rupees by the time it is leaving your Bangladesh. Primarily because of the labor cost advantage, which is missing in case of India. The labor cost advantage is primarily because of the women force. So by the time it exits Bangladesh, it is around 65 rupees. Now, European Union considers Bangladesh as a least developed country. As a result, in order to support least developed countries, they say that we are not going to impose any entry fees for your products. So, earlier for Indian goods, they are paying 25 rupees for a same shirt, same quality, same material. Everything is more or less the same. Okay, they don't have to pay any entry fees. So when they enter the market, it will be costing 65 rupees per shirt. Everything is the same. Okay, everything is the same. Now, if a person who is sitting in Europe, if he has to choose between these two products, one product is from India, another product is from Bangladesh, same quality, same material, everything is the same. Now, which one you would choose? He or she would definitely going to choose one which is at a lower price. Okay? So, the products from Bangladesh, because of this advantage of no entry fees, was trying to expand its footprint in your European market. So, Bangladesh textile industry were performing very well with regard to your European market. Indian textile industry, though it is well known for its advanced manufacturing, designs, all the cost effectiveness, still it used to face hurdles with regard to competing with the Bangladesh product. This is I am giving you one example of how an entry fee is different. That is your import fees. It is called as your import fees. See, in trade terminologies, I used to say exit fees and entry fees. It is called as your export duties and import duties. This is common term is called as tariff. One is your export. India is trying to export the goods. From an European perspective, it is trying to import the goods from India. Both the places it has to pay money. This is the existing scenario. Right? This is the existing scenario. Now, let us try and understand what you mean by free trade agreement. For example, this is your Europe. This is your India. For example, the price is now being sold at 100 plus entry fees is 5, and when it enters, an additional entry fee is of 25 rupees. So 130 rupees it is going to be priced per unit. Now, as you all know, the very basic economic principles, when the price reduces, demand is going to increase. You might all be very clear about the sale which will happen during the festive season. You all see 40% discount, 50% discount, sale, clearance sale. What is happening? Basically, they are giving you a signal the price is going to come down, and everyone is enthusiastic. Let us go and buy. Okay, because the price has come down, it is going to be a good deal for us. Let us go and buy. So the demand is automatically going to increase. Now, instead of, for example, if the price reduces, let us say, for example, if the price earlier a person was selling around 10 units. Now, once the price is reduced, people are going to demand more and more of the same product. As a result, the volume of goods is also going to increase. So instead of selling 10 units, they might sell 15 units. This understanding is very important for you to know the significance of your free trade agreements. Now, what is happening? And now, right? If suppose this 125 rupees is not there, and this 5 rupees is also removed, the same good can exit India easily, enter into European market easily. So it is like selling within India itself. If suppose India, if it is manufacturing in Delhi and if it wants to sell in Karnataka or Assam, they don't have to pay any entry fees, exit fees, because it is within the country itself. Similar kind of a situation will now happen if the exit fees and entry fees are removed. That is, your export duties and custom duties are more or less reduced. It is going to work as a single unit. Earlier, the cost was around 130 rupees. Now the cost has come down to 100 units, 100 rupees per unit. Okay. As you all know, the moment price reduces, the demand is going to increase. So if earlier 10 units was sold at 130 rupees, now because of the increased demand that is happening because of reduced price, around 15 units is going to increase. Right? See, this entry fees and exit fees, it is inevitable that is going to be added to the price. If that fees itself is removed, automatically the overall price is going to come down, demand is going to pick up. As a result, the volume of goods sold is also going to pick up. If the volume of goods sold is going to pick up, obviously your profit is also going to pick up. So every manufacturer or every business unit always tries to say that you please reduce the entry fees, you please reduce the exit fees, because it will be easy for us to market our goods in the other countries. So it is going to be a huge market, prices are going to come down, demand is going to increase, profits are going to increase. That is what is the free trade agreement. Right now, trade is happening where you have to pay exit fees, you have to pay entry fees. If this fees itself is reduced, if this fees itself is brought down to minimal, from 25 rupees, for example, it is brought down to 0.50 paise or whatever it is brought down either to zero or minimal things. Obviously, the overall price is going to come down, demand is going to increase, volume of goods sold is also going to increase, profit is going to increase. That's the basic generic idea. With this understanding, I think we need to understand the India and European Free Trade Agreement. Is that clear? Now, let us look into the key features of this agreement. First and foremost thing, it is trying to create a free trade zone of population 2 billion people. Okay, so nearly 2 billion people are effectively will be considered as one market. So any good which is produced in India can sell anywhere in these 27 European nations. Likewise, for Europe, they are getting access to nearly 1.4 billion population market. Okay. And it covers, and together these two you can say regions are going to cover 25% of the overall global GDP. So it is historical in its reach and scale because of population, because of the share in the global GDP. Right? Total population of the world is around 7.2 billion. In that, 2 billion people are coming under one economic or one trade area. Right? Now, there is going to be massive liberalization of your tariffs. For European Union is eliminating tariffs on 99.5% of Indian goods over a period of 77 years. For almost all the goods are going to now enter into the European market free of cost. It is not going to happen on the day one. It is going to happen gradually over a period of time for a gradual number of products. For example, 2026 the deal was signed. So by the year 2033 or 2034, most 99.5% of the goods are going to enter into the European market without paying any entry fees. So imagine the kind of volume that is going to increase. Now, to give you a broad context, the trade between India and European Union is approximately $140 billion. India exports around $70 to $80 billion of goods to European Union. That together constitutes around 17% of India's total exports to the world. Right? I'll come back to those figures again in the coming slides. I'm just trying to tell you the scale at which the deal is being signed. European Union also eliminated tariffs on 99.5% of Indian goods. The same is with respect to India. India has eliminated tariffs on 96.5% of your European goods. The time period is much more larger, from 7 to around 10 years. Right? So on various goods, it is going to liberalize the entry of European goods into India over a much more larger period of time. Right? And more importantly, what is happening to Indian goods, especially your labor-intensive goods like your leather, textile, apparels, footwear, gems and jewelries, all of them are going to get easy access to European market. Now, why labor-intensive is necessary? Because the benefits are going, whatever is the profit or the growth or the advantage which is going to come out of this trade deal is going to benefit larger number of people. Okay, because these industries are employing more number of people. So labor intensive sectors, if it is benefited, it is going to benefit larger sections of society, right? And cumulatively, it is going to save around $4 billion of Indian rupees with regard to your whatever duties it was paying to the European Union, right? In terms of European Union, as I told you, 96.6% of your European goods are now going to get easy entry into the Indian market. Your tariffs on your automobile sector from your European Union, especially they are known for automobile, right? Ferrari, Lamborghini, Benz. Right now they are all put an import duty of around 100%. So if the car cost is 1 crore rupees, we have to pay additional duties of 100%, additional 1 crore rupees to the government so as to import that car, and we have to ride in India. Over a gradual period of 7 to 10 years, this is going to come down drastically from 110% to just 10%. Okay, but they have put a limit. Only 250,000 vehicles are going to get this benefit. Above that, they have to pay again 110%. Okay, so and all the auto parts duties are going to be abolished within 5 to 10 years. So this is like there's a massive tariff liberalization. 99.5% of Indian goods can freely enter into the European markets. Likewise, 96% of European goods are going to freely enter into the market. This is the number of goods. Okay, so that is the number of goods. Don't think about the value terms. Service sector also, there is going to be a liberalization. Okay, enhanced access to financial services, IT services, telecom services, professional mobility, all these rules and regulations are going to be now liberalized. In a sense, people can, or European companies can come and easily set up their financial services centers in India. Indian IT professionals can easily set up their offices in European Union. Professional mobility also, they are trying to relax the rules and regulations for quick mobility of your professionals. Although not, there is still some negotiations going with regard to your professional mobility part of it. Right? So your financial services is going to be a biggest advantage. Law services is going to be an advantage. Telecom services is going to be an advantage for your European Union nations. Climate change. European Union has clearly committed $500 million to Indian industries to help transition to a more greener pathway. That is also a key feature of this agreement. Now coming to there's another contentious issue called as your cross-border adjustment mechanism. There has not been any direct exemptions for your Indian goods. Now what is this CBAM? I'll try and explain it to you. Okay. Now suppose this is your European Union. For example, it is producing one car. The tax on it is, for example, 10%. The process adopted in producing this car is more green, that is more energy efficient. Okay, so it is having around 5 stars. You all see that energy rating in your ACs and fridge, right? From 1 star to 5 star. 5 star means more energy efficient. Likewise, the process adopted in manufacturing is also going to be given rating. Whichever is the most energy efficient or most green pathway in order to produce the product, they will be attracting less taxes. For example, if in another country, this is another country, it is also going to produce the same car, okay, but it is using less energy efficient path. It is using, for example, coal as a power to generate that car. Here it is using wind energy or solar energy in order to produce that car. Here it is using coal as a power. So it is less energy efficient. If the process itself is less energy efficient, and if this car is going to be imported into European Union, it is going to be taxed at higher rates, maybe around 40%. For example, if there is another country, okay, which is going to produce the same set of car, it is also same energy efficiency. It is also having 5-star energy efficiency with regard to its production process. If this car wants to enter into the European market, it will be taxed as per the domestic. It will also be taxed at 10%. Right? This is the process of a cross-border adjustment mechanism by your European Union. So what they're effectively trying to say is that if you want to sell our goods in our country, if it is energy efficient, then we're not going to tax you. If the process itself is more polluting, if it's less energy efficient, then we'll be taxing it more. Their argument is very simple. They say that if we make this particular structure, we'll be trying to incentivize other countries also to adopt a more greener pathways. As a result, the world itself will move towards a more sustainable pathway. That is what the European companies are saying. Another argument why they have put this particular carbon border adjustment mechanism is primarily because what was happening, for example, in there is one more car manufacturer. What he used to do, if in order to escape the high taxation on less energy efficient, you can say, in less energy efficient processes, he used to always relocate it to the third country and import it. So in order to tell that no, please don't relocate, you stay in our country, even wherever you are going to produce, if it's going to be energy efficient, the taxes is going to be less. If it's going to be less energy efficient, or if it is more polluting, taxes are going to be high. This is your carbon border adjustment mechanism that has been imposed by European Union. Now India says that this is wrong because we are all developing countries. Our manufacturing processes are not as advanced as you guys. More importantly, the air pollution and the climate change that what we are witnessing is primarily because of you guys, what you did during 17th and 18th and 19th century. Because you guys were at the forerun of your industrial revolution. You guys were polluting more. Whatever carbon dioxide was emitted during that time period, that is now impacting us in the present day. So you should be historically responsible for the climate change. So you should take more measures. Why are you trying to impose this? You are very smartly trying to put the burden on us by saying that if we are less energy efficient, we have to pay more taxes. That is why India is resisting this carbon border adjustment mechanism, which has been imposed by the European Union. So there are India says that you please provide us exemption. We should not come under these particular rules because we are developing countries and our processes are not as energy efficient as you are expecting it to be. So your quality standards are very high. We will not be in a position to do it. We don't have the technology, we don't have the financial resources. But since we are using coal as energy, since it is not, that is the more economical way or cheaper way of producing goods, we should be exempted, is the argument by your India. But in turn, with regard to this European Union Free Trade Agreement, India's you can say request was not accepted to. Rather, they said that okay, we are not going to provide any exemption, but if there is any most favored nation clause, we are going to include you in that most favored nation clause, right? And next is your intellectual property rights. It is going to maintain your World Trade Organization's TRIPS compliance without data exclusivity. Okay, in order to understand this data exclusivity and evergreening, we'll have to go back to the basics of it. I'll just try to explain it to you in brief of what this data exclusivity and what is this, you can say, evergreening of patents. For example, let us consider this as Novartis. It is a Switzerland-based pharma company. It is going to produce a product through a particular process, and it is also going to say or provide supporting data points to prove its efficacy. Suppose it has invented a drug called as Gleevec, which is your cancer drug. Right now it is costing around 2.35 lakh per month. Now whenever it wants to sell its product into the market, it has to file for patent. Now, whenever it wants to file for patent, it has to openly publish the product or the chemical structure, which chemical is being used, what process is being adopted, and also the data to show that the clinical trials that it conducted using the drugs has been proved to be successful or has been proved to be effective. Once all this data is submitted to European authorities, it is going to be published in the website and it is going to be given exclusive rights for this particular company to sell this Gleevec drug for a period of 20 years. Is that clear? So anyone, for example, who wants to sell this particular product has to get the permission of Novartis, has to pay them royalties. Only then they will be allowed to sell the product in the market. So that is what the patenting is all about. You are going to exchange the information in order to get exclusive rights on the product in the market. Now, why do you want exclusivity? Primarily because this Novartis company would have spent hundreds of crores of rupees in order to develop this product. Okay, they would have hired researchers, they would have spent years and decades. It is estimated that if you want to bring out any new drug in the market, studies have shown that it takes at least 1 decade and it takes 5,000 crore rupees in order to bring that product into the market. So pharmaceutical company says that we need to have, you can say, exclusivity. We should be the only persons to sell this product because I have invented this product. Okay, and I have, you can say, conducted research trials and I have shown that this product is going to cure such and such a disease, right? So this is what is the global norm. In US and Europe, if a company files for a patent, it is going to get all the product patent, process patent and data patent. Okay, so everything is going to be with the company itself. Unfortunately, in India, until 2005, we were providing only process patents. We were not providing your product patents. So they said that you cannot invent a new chemical and you can file for patent and get exclusivity to sell that product in the market. No, it is not permissible in India. That is what Indian law was stating until 2005. If there is a particular process in which you are making that chemical, only that it can be patented, only that you can restrict others from copying it, right? So what used to happen in 1970s, 80s, 90s and 2000s, obviously all these US and European Union pharmaceutical companies, they used to publish this, you can say, products and showcase the patents, right? And once this information is publicly available, okay, the US regulators as well as European regulators are going to openly publish it in their websites about the patents that are going to be provided. Once this data is easily available, Indian, you can say, people said that, okay, they have got the product chemical structure. They got the product chemical structure. They said that if suppose the process is, for example, A, we are going to invent a new way to produce the same product. So they invented this new cheaper way in order to produce the same product and file for patent or try to get approvals from Indian regulatory authorities. They clearly said that, see, this product was given by Novartis. It has been proven, the data is supporting about its efficacy, therapeutic efficacy. And we have invented a new way in order to arrive at this particular product. So you should give us the necessary approvals. So the data was taken from the original company. The product was taken from original company. What Indians did, they reverse engineered it, found out an alternative, cheaper way to produce the same drug, same efficacy, same bioequivalence. Okay, so that was, you can say, the technique that was mastered by some of Indian pharmaceutical companies like your Cipla, Sun Pharmaceuticals or Dr. Reddy Pharmaceuticals, right? So, and they were able to sell this at nearly 1/10 of the price. If suppose this product is priced at, for example, 1,000 rupees. Since they had not invested so much in R&D to discover this product, They had invested only in trying to discover the process to manufacturing it at a good scale. They were able to bring down the price effectively to nearly 1/10 the cost of the original product. And this was vehemently opposed by all these pharmaceutical lobbies. They said that no, what you're doing is wrong. Whatever is the global norm with regard to your data exclusivity, with regard to process patents, with regard to product patents, that needs to be replicated in India as well. Okay, so this was the pressure that was put in by the pharmaceutical lobby. But in those 3 decades, our manufacturing capability had developed to such a great extent. Our reverse engineering techniques had developed to such a great extent. We were actually at the forefront in order to produce this generics. Generics means which is a copied product. Okay, which is not invented by the company itself. After 20 years, anyone can produce it. After 20 years, anyone can produce it. But our Indian pharmaceutical companies were very smart. Since it was already open in the market, they took that, tried to find an alternative pathway to generate it, able to bring down the manufacturing cost, sell it at a cheaper cost. They're not only selling it in India, they were selling it across the world. So every, you can say 1 in 3 generic medicines that is sold in US is coming from India. So India famously came to be called as a global pharmacy of the world, right? But in 2005, what actually happened is that because India was a part of World Trade Organization, because of the compliance requirements, it allowed even for your product patents. Now, what is missing is your data exclusivity. So even if a person is able to invent it, even if the person, now what is happening is Cipla can use the data of the patented product in order to bring its drugs into the market. That India is still not giving the exclusivity part of it. India says that, okay, if the same drug has been proved through a data by any other pharmaceutical company, the same data can be used. Now, European companies are saying, no. If you're creating a new product, you want to show through your own data. You should generate your own data, and that would take another 5-6 years. So they are somehow trying to scuttle the growth of your Indian pharmaceutical generic industry. Okay. Now, what would happen if suppose another? So, what is the alternative way? These pharmaceutical companies do say, don't worry, we'll tell you the technological know-how, we'll tell you everything. You need to pay us the royalty. Obviously, the royalty would have been so much higher. It would be difficult for pharmaceutical companies to sell it in India, right? So this is about your data exclusivity. So whoever is generating that particular data, the clinical trials data, only they can use it is something called as data exclusivity. India is not still accepting it. He says that no, it's okay. If another person has already proved it, we'll use the same thing. Why another person has to again go for a new data, new clinical trials data? Okay. So we'll have to wait and see about this particular aspect. Another important aspect is your evergreening of patents. What these pharmaceutical companies used to do, for example, this is Novartis. You produce a drug called as Gleevec. It was given patent in 1992. It was there till 2012. In 2011, it filed a new patent to Indian Patent Office with minor modifications. Only crystalline form, only the size of capsule. But the therapeutic effect was not substantially increased. For example, if it was controlling the disease to 50%, this would control the disease to just 51%. There is no substantial improvement with regard to its therapeutic efficacy. This was some of the method which was used by US and European pharmaceutical companies in their countries in order to extend the patents to another 20 years. So if this minor modification is also given patent, then they would extend it to another 20 years. India, and this would keep the prices of the, we can say, all this patented products in a very high. And Indian government said that this should not be the case. It put it in the law itself, which said that evergreening of patents should not be allowed. It said that if there are any small minor modifications, which is not substantially increasing your therapeutic efficacy, we will not try to continue the patents. So a company cannot claim a new patent if it is making only a small changes, if there is no substantial, you can say, improvement in its therapeutic efficacy. Okay, as a result, this evergreening of Gleevec was cancelled. So, and since it came to the public pool, another company, Indian company, generic manufacturing company called as Natco, it got since it is now in the public, anyone can take that product and anyone can sell it. They were able to sell it at around 15,000 rupees. So where is 2.35 lakh and where is 15,000 rupees? So Supreme Court also upheld this particular case. It upheld the section 3D of Indian Patents Act, which prevents evergreening of your patents. I know this is a slightly difficult concept for you to understand, but I have tried to simplify it. If it was a two-way conversation, I would have cleared certain doubts. If you still have any doubts, so please mail it to my email ID, or you can contact me in person. I'll try to explain it to you if you have any other doubts. Okay, so somehow it can be considered as a win for India, primarily because whatever data exclusivity the European Union was pushing for, India did not accept it, and whatever pressure was put by the pharmaceutical lobby to abolish Section 3D of Indian Patents Act, okay, that was also resisted by Indian government. Okay, so these are some of the key features of, and obviously they put in certain safeguards also. European Union said that its agriculture sector needs to be protected, so they did not open up certain fields like beef, chicken, rice, sugar, milk powder, honey and bananas. If India wants to enter into this particular sector, okay, then it has to pay high taxes. There is no free trade with regard to these products. Same is the case with India. Agriculture sector, both the sides have said that we'll protect our own farmers. We'll not try to go for free trade. Is that fine? So it is primarily in your manufacturing and in your industrial sectors. Manufacturing and your service sector, the trade barrier has come down to a large extent. Okay. Other provisions, there has been a separate small, medium and micro enterprises. So as to give a push to this MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises. So finally, free trade agreement has been concluded. There is investment protection agreement which is still ongoing. There is another agreement on geographical indication tax. So that agreement is also still under negotiations. Okay, so India is trying to figure out that the basmati rice or the Darjeeling tea or the Mysore silk, all these are given GI tax and they get the same brand visibility in your European market as well, right? So still negotiations on your investment protection agreement and GI tax is still under process. Now, how does it benefit India? First and foremost thing, it is going to getting access to huge market. Right now, the market itself is constituting around 17% of India's total exports. And more importantly, around $33 billion of this entire current day export market is going to get zero duty access. So it's a huge opportunity for India to increase its trade with European Union, right? I think you should recollect the basics of your free trade deal. Next, since there is going to be increased growth, especially your labor intensive sectors are now given duty free access to European market, there is going to be additional job generation, and it's estimated that textile industry alone will generate around 6 to 7 million jobs. There's obviously going to be a service sector boom. There's going to be increased foreign investment flows into India. There's going to be more ease with regard to your technology transfer. And whatever is the China plus one positioning, that is now going to be strengthened. Now, what is this China plus one strengthening? China plus one positioning? After COVID-19, the world realized that we are excessively dependent on China. Just like India is called as a, you can say, software house or a global pharmacy, China is considered as the factory of the world, where most of the products are manufactured in China. The world felt that we are becoming excessively dependent on China, so we need to de-risk it. Because in case of any, you can say, disruptions, like what happened in pandemic, not only China will be impacted, but all other economies are going to be impacted. So we'll try to reduce the risk. What we'll try and do, we'll also keep one factory in China and we'll try to create another factory in another country, maybe like Vietnam, Philippines, Bangladesh, or India, so that the risk is going to be reduced. So if European Union was trading excessively from China and it wants to de-risk from it, because China is an authoritarian country, tomorrow it can clearly say that no, I'm not going to sell to European Union, or I'm not going to sell my chips or phones to India. It can always use its manufacturing power to achieve its political objectives. So in order to de-risk the economies, the country started to adopt this particular position where we'll have one factory in China because it's cost efficient, and it has been running since years or decades. But we'll also have another factory in another country. So it is more or less strengthening the India's argument that it is a viable alternative for China in order to manufacture goods. Okay? And in the era of your unilateral tariff announcements by US President Donald Trump, he says tomorrow that there's going to be 50% entry fees on Indian goods. He is trying to weaponize this trade itself in order to fulfill US objectives. I think I've explained that in my previous videos as well. In such a situation, India is trying to sign these kinds of deals. Okay, so it is going to reduce your dependence on US and trying to search for other partners. As I already told you, your pharmaceutical industry has now been protected, right? And your renewable energy and the climate cooperation is now going to be increased, right? And how European Union is going to benefit? Moreover, it is going to get huge market, 1.4 billion people, which is growing at an annual growth rate of 6%. Your automotive sector and your machinery export sector in your European Union are going to get a huge boost, right? They're going to get access to big market. And nearly 6,000 European companies are already in India. So more or less they're going to be protected, right? So their future is going to be safeguarded. Your wine, spirits and another premium products are going to get access to your huge market. Your financial services, your legal services, your maritime sectors are also now going to be opened up for European Union. And it is also going to diversify its supply chain from China, right? It is also going to de-risk from China, right? So these are some of the, you can say, benefits that European Union is going to get from this free trade agreement. Now, what are some of the challenges? First and foremost challenge is with regard to your data protection. India is clearly saying that whatever data is going to be produced in India, especially your crucial data, should stay within India. And we need to have control over that particular data. So even if it's, you can say, European Swiss bank which is operating in India, or if it's a European-based technological company which is operating in India, if it's generating data, that data should stay within India and the control of the data should stay with Indians. That is the argument which India is trying to push. European Union is resisting it. Rather, European Union is saying that we need a more free data flow across the countries. And European Union is saying, whatever data regulations we have put in our country, you try and adopt or you try and align your data protection regulations should be similar to our regulations. Yeah. So there is a, you can say, difference with regard to your data protection aspect and your digital trade aspect. Also, as I told you, there has been a limited progress with regard to easier access for your professionals. They have liberalized it, but not to the extent that India was actually expecting it. And professional qualification recognition also remains partial. In the sense, if a lawyer or a doctor is recognized in India, they should be automatically recognized in European Union, or the vice versa. It will be beneficial for Indians to move across different countries. That, I can say, demand has not been met by European Union. On the other hand, European Union is getting access to India's financial sector. It is getting entry into India's legal services market. So even in the service sector also, there are certain, you can say, friction between India's demands and who is gaining and who is losing, right? Carbon border adjustment mechanism, as I already told you, exemption has not been given to India. If exemption is not been given to India, it is going to act like carbon tax. So if Indian goods wants to enter into the European market, if it is not able to prove that it's adopting a more greener pathway, then it is going to attract your carbon tax. As a result, it may not be competitive in the European market itself. Negotiations are still going on. We'll have to try and see what is going to be the outcome in the next few months, right? And this is especially problematic for your small, medium enterprises, micro, small and medium enterprises who does not have capacity in order to adopt greener technologies, right? And this is also going to increase the compliance cost for all these companies to prove to them that we have adopted greener technologies, right? So carbon border adjustment mechanism has not been in the favor of India's interest, right? And lastly is about your public procurement. The whatever government is going to procure, it is now even open for your European Union companies, and that goes against the principle of Make in India, right? So these are all some of the challenges which has been faced, or the criticisms the deal has been faced. It is yet to be ratified by the European Parliament, and it is going to come into effect gradually over a period of time. Okay. Overall, I can say it's on a good, it's a good progress, because India has signed a deal with your UK, India has signed a deal with your New Zealand, India is trying to sign a deal with USA, India has signed a deal with other European countries as well, right? So it's a good progress that we are making, right? So another question for you: the conclusion of India-European Union Free Trade Agreement marks a pivotal shift in India's trade strategy from protectionism to global integration. Now, what is the significance of this deal? That's the question is all about. So you can attempt this question, you can send it to me, right? This is my WhatsApp number or my phone number. This is my email ID. If you have any doubts with regard to any of the issues that has been discussed in this video, please do give me a call. Please do drop me a message. I'll be more than happy to help you out or clear all the doubts regarding any of the things, because there are a few issues I think which might have been confusing for you, especially your data exclusivity, evergreening of patents, and your carbon border adjustment mechanism. So these might be a bit confusing for you in the beginning, but over a period of time, once you understand the concept and the logic behind it, it will become easier. So that's it. Looking forward for your response. All the very best.